Hello, this is Srinivas. In this video, I'm going to show how to develop an Android application using Android Studio 2.2. The application that we are going to develop will have one screen where user can enter distance in kilometers or miles, and there is a button. Upon clicking the button, the distance gets converted into other types, meaning if user enters distance in kilometers, upon clicking that button it gets converted into miles and displayed on the same screen. So that is the functionality of this simple application. Only one screen, one activity. So what we are going to do is, I already created application. We will open that and go over components in detail and then run the application and test it. This is our app. Under app there are three subfolders: manifest, Java, resource. Under manifest folder you have Android manifest.xml. This is where you define all the components of your application. And in Java, all the Java classes including activity and other helper classes. Under resources there are several folders. This is Java, this is where you keep all the images. In layout you define all the layouts for your UI. And this folder contains icons for your application. This is where you keep all the constants for your application. Now let's go over Android manifest.xml file. This is Android manifest.xml file. Since our application is a one-screen application, there is only one activity, and that activity is defined here. And these two settings, main and launcher, tells the Android system that this activity needs to be instantiated when user opens the app. Let's open the activity class, main activity class. Activity class has several callback methods which Android system calls. That is where you could do some task. For example, while using your application, user opens a different application and your application become inactive. That is a status change, and there is a callback method for it. If user closes your application, that's the status change, and there is a callback method for that. So in those methods you could perform some action. But for this application, we are not going to use all those callback methods. The only callback method that we are going to use is onCreate. This onCreate callback method gets called when the activity is instantiated by Android system. In this method, all we do is we just set a layout. So this refers to our layout created in resources layout folder. Here R is a Java class which has all the constants. Those constants refers to the path of resources defined in resource folder. In this activity there is one more method which is convert distance. This method gets called when user clicks the button on the UI to convert the distance. I'll show you when we go over layout file how to tie this method to the click event of a button. Now let's go over our UI layout, which is defined in activity_main.xml under layout. Let's open it. It has all the UI components. This is a relative layout. It has text view, this is for label, and two radio buttons. Then edit text, this is where user enters the distance, and a button and text view where results will be shown to user. So you are viewing here is a XML, the complete layout. There is a design mode also where you can design your UI very easily, because it provides a palette with all the components. You can just pick the right component and drop it here and change the ID for that component. For example, if you could just pick a text view and drop it here in a place where you want it to be, and just go back to text view. So if you notice here, this is a new component just to add it. So you need to just change the name to suit your application naming convention. So that's how you can design your UIs. I want to show one more thing. We have a button. Upon clicking that, the enter distance gets converted into miles or kilometers depending upon what is selected. So that button has an event, so there is a property for that button, on-click property, which has a value of convert distance. This convert distance is referring to a method in your activity class. This is the method name. So this method gets executed on clicking the button, and that's how it is tied in UI layout XML file. Let's go over convert distance method. This method, all it does is it just picks the user selected or entered values and calculates the target value and sets it in a text view to show it to user. So here it finds some edit text view, and from that you can get a distance. Using radio group you can get the selected radio button. From that you could get the distance type. So using these two values you can calculate the target distance and set it to target view here to show it to user. If user doesn't enter distance and clicks the button, so the exception will be thrown here. In this scenario, we'll just display a toast saying that you need to select the distance or and type. If you notice here, r.string.miles, this is referring to a constant defined in a string .xml file under resources folder. So these are the constant strings that are defined in the string.xml file. With that, let's run this application and test it on a virtual device. So first I'll show you how to create a virtual device. Under tools, there is a tool called AVD Manager. You can just click it and go through the steps. It's very easy. You can just select the device that you want to run your application on, and API level you can select, and then you can run your application on the configured virtual device. If you need to build the project, here under the build menu you have clean project and rebuild. Now let's run this application. So this is the button new. Then it will show you a window where you can select your configured virtual device, and the virtual device will open. This is our app, which is deployed on the selected virtual device. Let's go ahead and test it. We'll enter distance and select distance type. You can select only one of them because we grouped these radio buttons in radio group. And click convert distance, you'll get the results back. If you don't enter any value in distance and click convert distance button, you'll get a toast saying that you need to enter distance. That's all. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments.